Hello, and welcome to Take This TV, the television book club podcast where each week we watch an episode or two of our favorite shows and we talk about them with our friends in the fandom. I'm Carmen and I'm joined as always by the amazing Kimberly Woods. Hello.
Hello, hot potatoes.
This season we are watching Fallout.
And today we're finishing up the season with episode 8. It's called The Beginning. The Amazon description, War, ... If you have not watched all the previous episodes, please go watch them. And if you have, join us, grab a Nuka-Cola, and let's dive in.
Heck yeah, grab that Nuka-Cola.
So we finally got some answers. I feel like we were guessing it was going to be, the cryogenic chambers, which we got. So yeah, that's what it was. We got I didn't realize it was Buds.
Oh yeah, because he mentions it to Cooper. And he's like, I'm starting a management training program called Buds.
Yep. So all of the executive assistants are part of it, which was crazy. Which we found out Lucy's father was an executive assistant, as well as Betty.
Yeah. Oh, because we saw young Betty and we saw young Howard. Oh my gosh, the de-aging on his face. Did you? I was like, y'all, just cast a younger actor.
Yeah. Which I feel like they did for Betty, right? Wasn't Betty a different actress?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was funny.
We get it. It was just like, it was bizarre. Like, they lingered on the shot for so long, and I was just like, ah.
Yeah.
The uncanny valley.
I still want to know though, because like we got Barbara, Coop's wife, like having the trouble with her Pip-Boy and realizing it was like beaming to like a different location or trying to like, and it seemed like she was gonna find out that it was him because it kept doing it during the meeting, but we didn't get to see like the fallout from that.
Do you think she knew?
I feel like at some point she's going to, yeah. But I want to see what happens, like how, yeah. So that's still a mystery, like how did we get to where we are now from that? Like, I'm assuming his family, because he's on his quest for his family, and then we follow Lucy's dad at the end there to New Vegas. And so it's like, okay, are they gonna be in New Vegas? Like, where are they? Are they frozen too? What's happening?
It was like the cat meme. I was like, oh, New Vegas. New Vegas. I know that
one. Yeah.
So when they were showing the pods, it's like panning across showing the pods. I thought I saw one that said Barbara on it that was open. And I was like, oh, does that mean Coop's wife is out there? I have to go back and watch it again to confirm. Let us know in the comments if you saw it, if that was Barbara, or maybe it was Betty. I could be getting mixed up. But I'm pretty sure it was said Barbara. And so I'm like, I can't remember their daughter's name. So maybe she had one there too. But like it was kind of panning across. You could see some of the different names. And so I was like, oh, maybe the Ghouls family is like out in the wild somewhere. Maybe they were in Vault 4, but now they're out.
Yeah.
But like how would his daughter still be alive after, like, because they were so close to those nuclear explosions. So I'm like, that horse is not that fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's like still a lot that needs to be answered because they were together at that time. So then what happened? And he says my family. So like, did they make it to his wife and then something happened with the daughter and the wife? Like what? Yeah, I'm excited for those juicy secrets next season.
I mean, we are assuming that he's talking about the same family from the past because he has been alive for 200 years. So maybe he has a different family. But I mean, that would be weird. I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for season 2. Yeah, that would be weird.
I'm excited. Do you think Norm's going to have to step in there now? Because that Brain Bud, was telling, he shut the door on him and was like, well, you have a choice. You could get into this chamber and, go to sleep for a little bit until it's safe.
Was the brain, was it Bud? I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be
Yeah.
Bud or if it was supposed to be somebody else. Oh, it was him. Okay.
No, well, the voice sounded like Bud, and then the way he was talking, it sounded like, which is interesting because it's like, okay, so Bud wanted this program where he trains up all of these managers and, like, outlasts everybody with time, um, and decides that he's gonna, like, put his brain in this he's gonna not go to sleep, he's gonna be a brain that's overseeing it, and then what? With the hope that one day they can put him back together and he'll have a body?
Maybe something happened, and like they had to put his brain in a jar to save him or something like that.
But do you think that he's, like, hoping that he'll be rebuilt one day, like, if the vaults last long enough and his experiments are successful enough?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe he wants like a younger body. Maybe he's trying to get his Palpatine on, and he's like trying to get a clone body or something. Who knows?
I'll just stay in here until you guys solve that. Until I can have a mortal body.
Little
Speaking
Roomba
of
Bud like trying to stab Norm was. I was
That
like,
was
okay, that's
hilarious.
hilarious. That's pretty good.
Norm was not even bothered. He's
Yeah.
like not looking behind him, like, whatever, you're just running into a wall. But speaking of immortality, what is going on with Moldaver? Like, why
So
was she alive for so long? Because it's been like 200 years, right? Everybody else has been in a cryo thing. Cooper has turned into the ghoul. Like, was she injecting herself with something? And, like, I don't know, there's different things that prolong your life, and certain ones of them, or too much of them, turn you into a ghoul. Like, what is the story with her?
I thought that she was some kind of mutant at first, but she dies in this episode, which like I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was kind of lame that she died. I mean, I think that like in the games, I've been doing my research, y'all. In the
Wow.
games, there's a lot of factions, and usually there's like some kind of final showdown with the faction leaders at the end, and most of the time they don't end up making it. And so, like, I get it, but at the same time, she kind of gets hurt off camera. I think it's really sweet that we see her come back to be with Rose. But I will say, disappointed because like we saw the flashback of young Lucy running to her mom, and then Moldover's there, Moldaver is there, and whatever her name is, and we see her like going up to Lucy like they're gonna kiss, and then they cut away, and I was like, no, no, like don't try to come at me at the end with Moldaver like holding Rose's hand and being like, oh, we did it, and then dying while she watches the like lights come back on. I'm like,
Her
you gotta earn
dream,
that
her
moment.
dream.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think that maybe she probably snuck her way into one of the cryo chambers in the vaults or something.
Oh, and then just like came out at a certain point.
Yeah, because it
I'm
seems like
still,
she's just a human, so she must have done something like that.
and we still don't know how long the ghoul had been buried where he was buried when we met him. When that happened and who did that. Like, why was he buried in the ground, but somebody, like, still gave him the little IV drip with to stay alive?
Well, they
What's
said
with that?
the people who dug him up in episode 1 were saying that I forget the person's name. Maybe it was the guy from the government that that was like cutting pieces off of the ghoul or like cutting his body parts off or something like that. Remember, they were saying they would like that they would dig the ghoul up and then they like cut pieces off of him and bury him again. Um,
Why?
yeah, I don't know. I don't think we ever found out why. So
Does
yeah,
his
I'm curious
DNA
about
do
that.
something?
I don't know. I'm like,
That's
is he
interesting.
immortal?
What?
Like, because some of the ghouls, like we've seen ghouls get shot and die, but
Yeah.
he's gotten shot a few times and he doesn't really seem to be bothered by it. And so I'm like, is he immortal or is he
That's what I'm
like?
wondering. There's, like, different stuff because then we also saw, what's his name, Thaddeus,
Mhm.
who was injected with the stuff, and now he's, like, healing suddenly. And he seems to be on his path to become a ghoul.
Yeah, because he got stabbed in the neck.
Yeah. But he doesn't
Like,
look like that yet. But it's like, okay, so how long does it take to look like, our main ghoul looks like? And are there
yeah,
different, like, different little vials of stuff? Some better quality than others? I don't know.
that scene where the ghoul faces down with the Brotherhood of Steel, I was like, that's so cool. And then like I know that like it was like Maximus was trying to fight his way to Lucy, but I'm like, Maximus, why would you tell the Brotherhood where Moldaver is? Like, come on, man. The whole fight, I was as soon as the ghoul was having a showdown with Maximus, I was like, kill him. he earned it. He's messing
No.
up too many times. Take him out. But
Although, why did he tell? I don't know why he was like so honest again with Dane, where he was like, "Really, I want to go because I want to rescue this girl I met out in the wasteland."
yeah, he's
And
so
Dane was like,
naive.
"What?"
Well, they were like, there's no escaping.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, Maximus. Like, you learned about the cult. He essentially saw a mirror of what is happening with him in the Brotherhood when he met the people in Vault
Mhm.
4, I think it was.
Yeah.
I forget the numbers. Yeah,
Vault
4.
4, yeah.
But it's like, I thought that the moment where he decided to give up the suit was like him turning his back on the Brotherhood. But the leader of the Brotherhood, who I also forget his name, the
Oh,
older
yeah,
guy,
Elder Cleric Quintus.
you're killing it, Elder Cleric Quintus. He was kind of like trying to manipulate Maximus, and he's like, "We can start a new Brotherhood with me as the head and you as the Oh, he said the likes of you as knights. And I was like, Maximus, wise it up. He didn't say you. He said the likes of you, which I'm like, well, you're gonna have to clarify that. Like, what does that mean? He's gonna
I
kill
thought he
you.
said I thought he said you as my sword.
He said the likes of you as my sword, and I was like, you know what that means? Your days are numbered, my man. Because I mean, he can't kill Maximus because he wants to know where the vial is, which we learned is like some cold fusion something or other that Moldaver had
Yeah,
figured out. Essentially, an
yeah.
energy source for unlimited energy, which I think we
Yeah, that was
theorized
hers to
before.
begin with and then got taken from her by Vault-Tec or whatever.
Because they like made it some kind of proprietary tech, and no one was able to access it. And so, man, that sucks.
Which is interesting because it's like, okay, what was that argument between the scientist? Because that's what he was trying to, like, get out with. Was it just that
Mm,
he was trying to, like, get it out to other people because he didn't think that they should be the only ones to have it? And then the other scientist was like, "No, you shouldn't do that. You're gonna," and then the dog interpreted it a certain way.
that's a good point because when we see the flashback of Shady Sands,
Mhm.
and we saw the encampment or wherever where the scientist was,
Mhm.
both of those places seem to have electricity and like seem to be kind of like functioning societies. And
Mhm.
Shady Sands was above ground; it wasn't a vault.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
it's like, at what point did Moldaver lose the cold fusion like stuff or reactor or whatever? Because I got the impression she lost it in the past,
Yeah,
but
it seemed
maybe
like
she lost it
pretty.
from Shady Sands. I don't know.
It seemed like she had lost it in the past.
Hmm.
Like, when she was leading that group, it seemed like she was kind of upset that, yeah, Vault-Tec was taking over stuff.
And like, how did the scientists know her? Well, I guess like she was kind of building up her reputation as like this rebel leader in the Outlands or whatever. So
Mhm.
maybe that's how.
What did you think
I don't know.
about Dane saying that they injured their own foot? Because I remember you were
Ah,
suspicious about Maximus.
I thought that was a weird choice. I feel like I mean it must be true because why would they say it so many times? But I thought that was weird because I feel like we don't get to spend much time with Dane to know, and like the little bit of time we do get to spend with Dane, they're like really excited about all those things that they're doing for the Brotherhood. So I don't think we get to know them well enough to tell that they're like having reservations or feeling doubt about the Brotherhood. And then they like double down when like you said, when Maximus tells them that he's trying to escape with Lucy, and they're like, nobody leaves and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, something happened between that time to make them like really about the cult. So I
Well,
mean,
it's
I
hard
don't
to
think.
tell too. Like, it's hard to tell how much of a fanatic they are. They might just be scared still.
Could be.
Or realizing, like, they injured themselves, but it was only a temporary, reprieve from getting out there. Now they're back at it and can't get out. I was hoping that, like, I don't know. I was like, "Come on, Maximus, are you and Dane gonna try to, like, break off here? Like, what is your plan, like, once they touch down?" But then we lose Dane. I feel like Dane kinda gets lost for a while in this fight and doesn't show up till way later. Like, Maximus is out cold. I don't know why nobody's in this room yet where the cold fusion is. Like, nobody's found this room that has this, like, huge-ass hole in it where they could, like, come around this other side. Like, why is it taking them so long to invade the space where the cold fusion is?
Yeah. I mean, so they're in the Griffith Observatory in LA. And if you've been there, it's a big building, but it's not that big. So it's like, where are they at? But I mean, there were a lot of people fighting outside. And the ghoul does kill the like group of people that Maximus was with, and I guess he slipped away during that fighting, and maybe that's how he got there before everybody else. But I mean, we do have that showdown, and like maybe it's supposed to all be happening pretty quick, but it felt like it was like should have been enough time for other people to catch up. But I mean, I like the drama, so I'm glad that they gave it this moment. But it was kind of like, where's everybody else at? Yeah. When like Lucy's dad smacked Maximus's head on the rim. I was like, he's dead.
I know. I was like, come on, it can't be. Luckily, he wasn't. That was cold. What did you think about the reveal that Lucy's dad was behind the Shady Sands bombing?
I did not see that coming. I didn't see that coming, and I also did not see it coming that he was the person in the past, because they even mentioned him by name a few episodes ago, and I didn't pick up on it. Because I was like, Henry, whatever, is a popular name. But then, like, when young Betty is like, Henry wants to meet you or whatever, and I was like, no way. No way. And then he walks in, and I was like, oh, did I not see it? So,
and he's this super fan.
Yeah. It was such a great, like, twist.
Yeah. I like the little bookend of that, like, seeing in the past him being the super fan, and then in this episode towards the end when the ghoul comes in and he's, like, calling him out for it and saying his lines from the movie.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really cool.
It also was, like, a great moment because when Cooper meets Henry in the past, Henry is like, oh, I love the scene where you shoot the guy or whatever in the film. But when we first see Cooper recording that scene, he doesn't want to have his character do that because he feels like his character's a hero, and that's not what heroes do.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and like Henry like idolizes the character, the anti-hero character that ends up in the final version of the film, and then Henry kind of comes face to face with that character in the future when he's the ghoul, and so I love the foreshadowing that they did with that.
Yeah,
I thought that was really.
It was interesting too that it was like, we found out, that Vault-Tec was behind the bombing in the first place, and that, Barbara is, like, the one that's saying this during the meeting. And then secondly, that there's, like, multiple companies working together. Like, oh, we get to have some power and have our own experiments in each of the things. Like, it's not just Vault-Tec, it's, like, also them in collaboration with.
So I like that, like, these corporations are the villains, because, I mean, I think that I think that's very topical. Like, corporations have so much power and it's bad and yada, 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 and people can use it to their own means and all that kind of stuff. But it's also so funny that it's like you have this literal smoky room with all these characters. And there's the one guy in there, I don't even remember which company he was supposed to be representing. He has a mustache, he has like a black suit and a red tie. I was like, this guy is straight out of either V for Vendetta or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and this man is a cartoon character. It was the funniest stuff. Because he's like saying some wild stuff, some cartoony stuff. And I'm just like, I can't take this man seriously. The sad part is that there are real people like that, but it's just like, it's so funny. Yeah. The way that they have him portrayed. But like, yeah, no, I really did not see that twist coming. And like, I love that we get to see sort of Coop hearing it in real time as he like sort of hears Barbara like, caressing the situation to sort of help Vault-Tec get what they want. And she's fully committed to the cause and loyal to what they're trying to do. because in her mind she's just trying to save her family because she feels like it's inevitable, but
Mm-hmm.
still it's like that's a monstrous thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, war never changes, so this is why we need to do it. And then, as this episode shows, here we are again. War never changes.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of curious if like Norm is going to like wake up the other people or if he's going to get in the pod. But I don't know. I'm excited. Like that whole like storyline in Vault 33, like they made it such an intriguing mystery over 8 whole episodes, and I think that like we have that one. We have Lucy's adventures, her and Maximus, and then we have the stuff in the past with Cooper. And I feel like all of them were so engaging on their own. Like I feel like all of them
Mm-hmm.
could have been their own individual seasons, and I love that they
Yeah.
sort of weave them all together because it keeps everything fresh and it feels like all the stories are kind of paced together in the same way where all the reveals happen at once and support one another. And so all that to say that I think the writing is really great on this show.
Yeah, I agree. The writing's really great in balancing all the characters and making them all feel like they have a really satisfying arc. I like how in this episode, too, a lot of our main characters are getting faced with, like, people trying to entice them and saying, like, for Maximus, it's Elder Cleric being like, your entire life you've wanted a home, build one with me, that way. And then I think Moldaver is saying to Lucy, like, we can build our own world, picture it. And so it's like these characters that have been so sheltered their whole lives are being given these like grand options and having to like think about what they want for the first time. Like, like what is their goal? What are their wants? How are they going to move about this world now that they know the truths that they know and have been through the wasteland and faced all these various things? And then we end with Maximus, like, being Knight Maximus and, like, the head of this, which he doesn't seem to want,
Not
even
anymore.
though not anymore, we didn't want that. But Moldaver is saying to him, like, as she dies, like, what will your brotherhood do with this power? Perhaps you can, like, guide them or stall them or, like, so going into next season too, it's like, what is he gonna do with his power? Will he be able to steer them in some way, or is he gonna have to break off?
Yeah, I mean, I was on Moldaver's side by the end, and once I learned like everything that happened and what she was trying to do, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, they should join her. Like,
Yeah.
she's great. She's trying to save the world. But I do love that sort of final moment that she has with Maximus, where she's kind of talking about the how change is like something that's really slow, and there's only so much change that one individual person can affect, and she's sort of telling him that like you probably can't even stop the brotherhood because it's so big and powerful and you're just one person. But I am interested to see what Maximus does because now it seems like the brotherhood has this power of the cold fusion, and they're probably the most powerful faction now, and so what is that going to mean? And you know, we also had that moment where they kind of like flew past it in the episode, but like somewhere off screen, at one point off screen, it seemed like they took over Philly, and so it's like, are they sort of colonizing the surface now and like taking over all these different places? And so now that they have the cold fusion, what is that going to mean for everybody else? So we'll
Yeah.
see.
An elder cleric or whatever seems to be suggesting ruling by power.
Oh,
Because he's like, we've been doing things a certain way, but I do think we need to be doing them like so.
our way, yeah. Which reminds me of like the smoky room conversation with all the corporations. They were all essentially saying like, "Oh, the free market and like competition, and that's what leads to progress, and that's why we have the great society that we have now." And if we restart the world, and we'll all have these different volts, and let the best one win, and all that kind of stuff. But all of them have their schemes to try to like get one up on the other one, but like the whole doctrine of like Vault Tech was like the world is complicated and there's so many people vying for power, so we should just be in control. There should just be one faction. And then we see that like the Brotherhood of Steel has the same mentality. And I mean, it's like it's the zealot mentality. It's like the world is broken and only we can fix it. And if everybody was just doing what we want to do, then the world would be great. And so I love that like we sort of see that reflection of like, especially because like this episode is called War, and it's like all of these different organizations, they have their different doctrines and beliefs, but they're all really similar in their zealotry and like how they're being extremists about it. And so, yeah, no, I think that it was done in a clever way where it's like it didn't feel like the theme was front and center, which I think is really important to make sure it lands with people, because I think the characters were in the front, and I think that's what makes it compelling. But I think it's an important theme that I'm happy that they were able to handle so well.
Yeah, I agree. Lucy finding out about her mother, I just want to touch upon again.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was having those memories where she said her mother used to take her into this room and it looked like the sun was shining and it felt so real. And then we get the realization that it was real, like her memories. And I love that they're playing with that, because our memories, you know, as humans change. Like we tell ourselves stories and they kind of modify to adapt to the stories we're telling ourselves. And so it's a very real thing that happens, you know. So I like that they play with that idea of how memory works in our brains, and that's what happened for Lucy. She had adapted that and told herself the story, but it was actually a true thing that she'd been in the sun before with her mom.
Yeah. Oh man, when she first walked into the room and Moldaver was at the table with like the zombie ghoul person, I was like, "Oh, that's your mom, dude. That's your mom." I was like,
I
"Oh
wasn't
shoot."
sure. I kept going back and forth, like, is that her mom or did they actually like kill her? You know, like, did the dad like actually kill her? Because when she has that moment and Lucy's like, what happened to my mom? And Moldaver's like, I think you know. It's like, wait, so is she dead or is that the mom? And then she turns to look at the ghoul.
The ghoul with like half her face blown off and stuff. So savage. Yeah. I mean, like,
by the way, in that camp we also see another ghoul that looks pretty bad, like kind of gray and falling apart. And they're like lucid. Yeah, they're like, oh, it's her, talking about Lucy entering the camp.
Oh yeah, so they're like farming or whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, the mystery of the ghouls and the different levels of being a ghoul.
Yeah, but we do see that whoever that ghoul was is like living in peace amongst Moldaver's people, and so that like you know sort of the tenets and beliefs of her faction, but they've all got wiped out. So you know, in the end, when the ghoul is asking Lucy like, "Are you coming?" There was a part of me that was like, "Yes, give in to your hatred."
No.
I don't know why I always want characters to break bad. I was just like, you know, Lucy has been such a ray of sunshine that I'm like, yes, Lucy, destroy them all.
To that point, that was when she did the like darker okie dokie. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that was a dark okie dokie. Okay.
Yeah. So is she going to become more like the ghoul now? They're rolling together. Well, I mean, it's her and the ghoul and Dogmeat, the little RPG party traveling together. I love it.
I can't wait to see what they find in New Vegas. Man, this show was so just awesomely done. Like, from having played the games, a couple of them years ago, to like seeing them bring it to life. They did such a great job, like embracing just the feel and the tone and the characters that you encounter in the games. And I just can't wait for more.
Me too. I'm excited.
Thanks so much for joining us, y'all. We're at Take This TV on TikTok and Instagram. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So leave us a review. It really helps us out. And send us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. And remember, it's dangerous to watch TV alone.